All right, hello and welcome to my third iteration of GTA Vice City speedrunning guides for beginners. I made one of these all the way back in 2017, which was like 8 years ago. God, 8 years ago, 2017, crazy. Made another one, which is the most recent one that you might have seen in 2019. And then making another one all the way in 2025. I don't know why I waited so long. Simply put, the reason I remade my guide in 2019 was to overall increase the quality and also dedicate a new video to a lot of strategies that had been found. There hasn't been that much discovered since like 2019, which is probably the reason, I guess, in my head now I'm thinking about it, why I haven't updated this in a while. But at the same time, in 6 years, there has been some developments. And also, I'm just, a better teacher. And my hope is that every time I remake these guides, they'll be slightly more clear, they'll be more coherent, and they'll be slightly more up to date. So as you can see, we're playing the Japanese version of the game. I would recommend before this, if you're planning to get into speedrunning and you look at this and you go, oh god, Japanese version, how on earth am I supposed to play? I have got a guide on how to set up the game for speedrunning. It's not that complicated. And it's even less complicated now because of the fact that Definitive Edition came out and basically made the game's abandonware. So now we can just, if you join the GTA Speedrunning Discord, which will be linked in the description, hopefully, unless I forgot, then you can just download the games and they'll be ready for speedrunning. So you don't even really need the guide as to how to set it up because it's already set up for you. Anyway, you also don't really need to know Japanese. I don't speak any Japanese or can't read Japanese or anything. But I'll be taking you through, how the game works and stuff as we go through. Obviously, you might require some basic knowledge of the game, but even if you've never speedrun the game before, you can pick it up quite easily. With that being said, let's get started. There's obviously a lot to talk about, but we'll take it fairly slow and steady. The auto split is going to start, but I'll just cancel it. I just have the splits on the side so you can see for like a reference. Obviously, we're not racing against the clock because the whole point is to learn, not to
what are you gonna do?
Not to, try and get a PB or anything. So there's a number of different routes that you can do at the start, but I think one mistake that I made in my previous guide was trying to teach you too many strats at the same time. So instead, I'm going to keep this exactly for beginners, like you've never speedrun the game before in your life. I do plan to make a more intermediate video if you're interested. On intermediate strategies once you've learned the basics, but for now we'll stick to the basics. So grab the Faggio and bring it over here, and you want to ideally get into the hotel around this time on the clock, around like 21:45. Any later than that and you'll get a cutscene here. But if you're out of this radius of the hotel, you can skip the cutscene that usually plays here. As you saw there was no cutscene, and that will allow us to gain control in a cutscene later. If you don't get that, that's not a reset point or anything, it'll just cost you a couple of seconds later on. So now we're going to go ahead, and this is where we get into the real meat and potatoes of speedrunning this game. So this is a rampage here, and rampages are a mission according to the game. And when I pick it up, it's going to put me on a 2-minute timer, and I am now I'm on a mission. We call it on mission 1. Think of it like a light switch. When the light switch is on, you are on mission 1. And when you are not on a mission, you are on mission 0, the light switch is off, and you're in free roam mode essentially. So we can't start another mission because we're on mission 1, right? The rampage is considered a mission. If you see on the bottom left on the minimap, there is no icon for the Ken marker, which is our next main mission in the game. We can't pick it up, right? So we are going to abuse this whole on mission variable right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a replay. And replays are really simple in Vice City. All that you need to do, and this is quite important, especially as a beginner, there are different ways to make replays, but this is the easiest way to make sure that you never mess anything up, is to press F2, F3, F3, F2. I slowed it down there deliberately to show you, but what you would do in real time is you would go F2, F3, F3, F2, like that. The really important thing when you make a replay is that you don't spam. If you go F2, F3, F3, F2 like this, you'll make a really short replay, and that doesn't give Tommy enough time to pick up the things that we need to pick up inside of the replay. So what you need to do, you can press the first 3 keys as quickly as you like. F2, F3, F3, then F2. And essentially what that does is the F2, F3, F3 sets up a state where the replay is going to begin, and then you do anything that you need to do in the replay and then press the final F2. So only the final F2 press matters in terms of how quickly long and short your replays are. So again, just to reiterate, you walk over to the rampage, you pick it up, and then you press F2, F3, F3, F2, just like this. And what it has done is then when you press F3 again, as you can see, F3 is your button to play a replay. You can press F3 and you can see that I've made like a second or half a second long replay of me stood on top of this rampage. So because the rampage is about to run out, I'm going to show you again as though we just got here so you can see how to do it in real time. And if you're wondering how this will benefit us, we'll get into that later on. So we'll go here, we'll pick up the rampage, and we'll go F2, F3, F3, F2, just like that. If you're curious on what keys I'm pressing, as you can see on the top left, I forgot to mention that, you can see what keys I'm pressing thanks to a program called S keys. It literally just shows my keyboard inputs. So when I'm walking around, you can see what I'm doing. So we picked up the rampage, and now we're going to die, because we need to reset our position. We need to go back on mission 0. So just throw 2 Molotovs at the ground, let yourself burn, and then we're going to respawn at the hospital. So once we spawn in, there is a chance that this ambulance can be locked. It is a 10% chance, so it's not very likely. If you do get a locked ambulance here, we'll see if we do. We don't. We got kind of lucky, but also not because it's only a 10% chance. If you do, you can just press F3 to play the replay again, which puts you back on the rampage, and then you can throw the Molotov and set yourself on fire and die a second time, and then you'll get set back to the position. You can try the ambulance again. So we're going to drive over here once we got the ambulance, once we've finally got it open. Hopefully you don't get too many locked ambulances, because obviously it's the rare part where you need to get somewhat lucky. Vice City has a ton of really consistent, like, the whole game is pretty consistent, but there are a couple of places where you need to get lucky. That's the joys of speedrunning for you. So, this will depend on what your keybinds are, for the most part. For me personally, my middle mouse button is what I press to start the submission, which is the ambulance mission. Whatever button it is for you, it doesn't matter, really. You just need to make sure that you've got this set up. There are only 2 binds that you need to have for speedrunning. I believe I talked about them in the speedrun setup guide, but just in case I didn't, I'll quickly tell you. You need to have your button. I can show you in the controls, actually. You need to have your button for this, which is action, which is the same button to answer phone calls and things like that. You need to have that bound to the same as the radio change, which is this one inside of a vehicle. So I've got them both bound to caps lock, as you can see. That's what I'm going to use for holding calls later on. And then the other thing that you may or may not need, you need it for a backup later on, but it's best to have it just in case, is your submission key, which is this one, is bound to the same as look behind on foot. So for that, I've got both num plus and middle mouse button. This is middle mouse button in Japanese. I'm pretty sure it is. Again, I don't read Japanese, but this is just what I know from trial and error. So yeah, I've got my submission bound that way, and I've also got my hold call key bound with these 2. Very important. Don't cheap out on that. So what we're going to do is we are going to drive the ambulance to this marker, and before we start the mission, we are going to set up what's called an on mission 0 rampage. So essentially, we are going to start 2 missions at the same time, which is the ambulance and the replay of the rampage. And we are going to then cancel the ambulance mission, and that is going to have us on a rampage, but we're going to be on mission 0. So we're going to be in free roam mode, and we can start other missions. And that is going to let us start the main mission right here with Ken and the rampage at the same time. Again, it's complicated, I understand. You don't need to understand why it all works, you just need to understand that it works and how to replicate it for now. The rest of the learning can come later on. So all that you do, excuse me, is you hold down your button. So I'm holding down middle mouse button, and as you can see, when I release the button is when it actually activates. So you can hold it for as long as you like. So you hold it, you press F3 to activate the rampage, and then you let go and get out. And all that does is just do what I just explained with starting the first mission, excuse me, and the rampage at the same time. So there are a couple of things to talk about while we do. This next mission is just basically driving. There isn't really too much to it. So there's a couple of things that we can talk about that are generic throughout the whole run that will benefit you. The first one is, as you can see what I'm doing here, is I am mashing my right click button, which is bound to lean forward. By default, it's probably the arrow keys for you, but again, you can rebind it in the controls if you like. And this is going to allow you to drive faster on bikes. Excuse me there for my shit driving. It's going to allow you to go faster on a bike. As you can see, you can tell whenever Tommy's doing it because he's doing like a weird animation, like sitting up and down on the bike. The other thing is to tap sprint at a certain rhythm in order to almost infinitely sprint. It's not quite infinite, but it's close enough to infinite that you are able to run for much longer periods of times that you would usually be used to.
Will you be working for my father?
So we're going to be doing both of these pretty much throughout all the run. If we ever don't do it for any reason, I'll tell you. So just do it by default. And if we don't have to for whatever reason, or we don't need to because of a strat or whatever, I'll tell you. So if you ever hit a cutscene, you usually use your sprint button to skip it. But you see I pressed W there to skip that. And that's because I'm in a vehicle. If you're ever in a skippable cutscene in a vehicle, you need to press W, which is your move forward key, rather than your sprint key, which for me is shift. Again, it depends on your binds, but the ultimate thing is that it's move forward to skip in vehicles if you're ever in a vehicle, and it is sprint to skip them on foot. So your first big obstacle as a new player will be getting to this marker on time. You need to make sure that you start Back Alley Brawl before the rampage timer. You see the green timer on the top right, that runs out. You can continue and do the mission normally, but it's going to... Basically, we're doing a long setup for a glitch to skip a mission in one mission's time. And if you don't make it, then you can't do the setup anymore. It doesn't work. So, again, you're welcome to continue. Excuse me, my throat is really giving me trouble, of course, the one day I want to record something. You can continue as normal, as I said. And it might be even a benefit to continue as normal because, you know, there's no point in resetting the start over and over again as a new player. And also you want to learn how to, beat the mission as well, so that if you ever mess it up in a run, you know how to complete the mission normally as well. Obviously you can look at like dupless videos and stuff, glitchless videos in order to how to speedrun that mission. But for now, we're just going to move into the Malibu. If you do make it and you're on mission 0, for some reason, you have to exit the Malibu twice here. It's just a weird byproduct. So you go in and you have to leave a second time. So if that happens, don't worry, it's normal. There is also a chance that you might spawn outside, but then in a weird like interior void world. If that happens, just go inside the Malibu and then outside again. Again, it's just a weird byproduct. So here we're going to need to go and deal with the chef, but first we're going to go and get a gun. That's going to be useful for, again, a couple of missions. Start. We're going to grab the shotgun here, nice and convenient. And then we're going to kill this chef. So this chef is a really easy, it's usually like a melee tutorial for combat, but you can just drive right into him and you'll just kill him in the cutscene. Again, if you miss him, it doesn't really matter, just shoot him with the shotgun. Pick up the phone. And now we're going to continue the rampage shenanigans.
This way.
So when you start the rampage here is basically setting up how much time you have to complete the next glitch that we're going to do. It is completely up to you when you start it, but I would recommend delaying the rampage as much as possible as a beginner, because even though you'll lose time because it takes longer to do, if you don't get there in time, you fail the entire glitch. So I would recommend once you're in the car, then playing the replay here to give yourself enough time. The earliest you can start it is as soon as you gain control. You can technically do it earlier, but for all intents and purposes, the earliest you can do it is as soon as you gain control once you get given the pistol with Lance. But that is tricky to do as a beginner, so don't worry about it. Activate it when you're in the car. It'll give you enough time to figure things out. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to cut through this little section. It's very important that you approach this from the south and face north like I'm doing here, because if you try and do it from the north facing south, you'll collide with a hitbox and you'll get stuck. So that's like something that new people trip up on quite a lot. And now we're going to activate this cutscene. If you made that first cutscene skip right at the start of the game, you'll gain control in this cutscene here, which just allows you to move a little bit in the cutscene. As you can see, and then once the camera changes, you need to hold A and S in order to continue walking down the road like this. If you don't get that, it's not a big problem. You'll still have more than enough time. You'll usually have a choice between a car coming towards you here and a car on parked, like I have that Landstalker there. I would always recommend stealing a car on the road, because there is a chance that that Landstalker would have a car alarm, and if you drive down this road with a car alarm, it's very common that you will get the police after you, and if you get the police, you can't answer this phone call that I'm about to answer. So in terms of timing, you need to answer this call before 22 seconds on the rampage timer in order to take it. If that doesn't happen, you can do this instead to delay it. So let's say you're on 19 seconds on the timer, okay? What you can do is you can actually... I'm going to pause because I need to talk about this while we're taking this phone call. So what you can do is you can actually use replays to your advantage here. And what is going to happen is whenever you play a replay, the dialogue of the phone call continues, but the rampage timer freezes because you're not technically like in game, if that makes sense. It's almost like pausing in a way. So what you can do is if you've answered the phone call late, you can like buffer the phone call lines inside of a replay. So what you can do is you can just wait for a line, play a replay, exit the replay, play another replay. This is F1 replays, by the way, rather than F3 replays. And as you can see, the timer on the top right is barely moving, and we're skipping all the way through the call. As you can see, now we've got 15 seconds left on the timer, which is more than enough time to get here. So just to be clear about that, that is only a backup if you don't answer the phone call in time. So if you get there late and it's less than 22 seconds on the timer, then do the replay shenanigans that I just showed there. If you have 22 seconds or more on the timer, then just let the call play out because you've got enough time. You just walk to the marker and just listen to it and then start the mission at the right time. So we're going to start this next mission just as it ticks from 4 seconds on the rampage timer over to 3. So I'll show you the timing. I just walk into the wall here to make it easier. 4, and then as it goes to 3, we're going to step in. We're going to skip this cutscene, and then it's going to start the mission a second time, and this is going to dupe the mission. So duplicating it, we started the mission twice. As you can see, there's 2 people, there's 2 cars. Usually there's only 1. Wait here for the camera to reset, and then head and get on the bike here. Again, it's not a big deal if you don't get on the bike before the mission passes. But the important thing is that you wait for that camera reset because it'll throw you off otherwise. If you try and move it and your camera flips backwards like that, it's quite jarring. So it's a big thing that new players get stuck on. But what we've essentially done there is we've passed the mission instantly due to a glitch. That was what that whole setup was for. As you can see, replays are very, very broken and overpowered because they allow you to pick up items like rampages remotely, whereas you usually wouldn't be able to pick them up while starting other missions. And that is how this whole game breaks apart, essentially. So here, this is a very simple mission. We're just going to we don't need to go to Raphael's place to get the clothes. We just need to park up here next to this barrel. Well, I'm going to use my pistol for this to shoot this barrel, and I'm going to switch to my shotgun, and I'm just going to shoot this 5 times. And that is the mission passed. You can just use the shotgun that we had earlier, and I'm going to shoot this barrel and die to warp closer to my next destination. It's very important that you don't shoot that barrel too quickly because the mission still needs time to pass, and if you do it before the mission passes, you will fail the mission for dying while on the mission, which is obviously not very good. So here we're going to take Cortez's call, which we need. We're just going here to his missions. But yeah, that is the somewhat tricky start of the game. So congratulations if you made it this far already. I apologize for all the front-loaded stuff that you need to learn at the start of this run, but that's just the way the run is. I wish there was more time to talk about these kind of things, but the first 5 minutes is pretty crazy. But if you've made it this far, don't worry, it does slow down quite a bit. These missions are fairly normal. I say, fairly normal because they can only be so normal, right? But the most important thing is that we're not doing a load of really heavy glitchy shenanigans for a while. There will be some later on, but it'll be quite a while from now, so you'll be much more used to the game. So we are going to make a replay here. We are going to go to the multi-story car park just a couple of blocks east from here and make a replay for 2 missions from now. This isn't a mega glitchy replay, so don't worry about it. Instead, it's just a gun that we're going to pick up remotely later on to skip having to drive to it. That's all. So we're going to head this way, and we're going to make a replay right here. I'm going to park my bike facing this direction because we're going to use it to exit the garage in quite a cool way. So the replay is about here. It's not quite in the corner. It's a bit far out. So again, we'll make a replay. F2, F3, F3, F2. And we're going to hop on the bike, and then we are going to lean backwards and do like a wheelie and hit this corner at like a, I don't know how you describe it, but if you make, I'm sure anyone does a word for it, but I don't remember what it is. But basically we're going to like face diagonal outside and then pull a wheelie, and that's going to push us out of the multi-story car park. It's very important that you stay like almost parallel with your angle, because if you drive at like 45 degrees, like if I drove this way, not enough to get over. You need to be very close to the ledge and drive parallel to the ledge, and then just have a slight angle to push you over. I see a lot of new players approaching it at like 45 degrees, and you just hit it like a brick wall and fall off, which is obviously not particularly good. This drive is tricky for beginners as well, because there is a lot of cars that can, you know, be around and give you trouble. So when you're not confident, just focus on slowing down a little bit. You don't have to, you know, drive as quickly as possible. When you get to those like 4-way intersections, you can always slow down as well, just in case somebody like pulls out in front of you or anything like that. But aside from that, this is, say, fairly chill compared to what we were doing before. Always jump into this marker from here. If you sprint into it, you can delay the cutscene massively for some reason. So just jump up the stairs like this. We're gonna quickly kill this guy. Gonna switch away from the chainsaw, just run and just chainsaw him down immediately. The chainsaw is really broken. As long as you're holding W, you can just like insta-kill people. I tried to show you there, but I did a poor job. But yeah, if you stand with the chainsaw, it doesn't do a ton of damage. But if you just hold W and left click, you just massacre people. Also, don't hold sprint with the chainsaw. Just hold W and left click like I did there. So we grab that bribe. This is going to skip the pay and spray tutorial. The idea here is that you're supposed to pay and spray, but if we pick up that bribe, it takes us to 1 star on our wanted level. And as long as we don't commit any crimes on the way back, aka don't run anybody over, then it will allow us to actually lose our wanted level, because 1 star on the wanted level disappears over time. You don't need to pay and spray if you have 1 star. So we can just use that in order to drive straight back. You can take this route around here. Just be very careful and very safe when you don't know what you're doing, because as you can see, it's quite a treacherous drive. You don't have to do that. You can just drive around on the road instead. So if you're starting here, you don't have to cut through the hospital like that. You can just drive on this road and cut across here. It's completely fine. But that is safe as long as you drive slowly. And oh my god, my throat. Excuse me. Yeah, as long as you drive slowly. So there you're going to get a phone call, and we're going to skip that phone call. So we're not going to skip it, we're going to cancel it. So we press F to go towards getting on our vehicle, and then we cancel that by pressing a movement key. As you can see, I press F, he goes to get on the bike, and then I move, cancel that. And getting on the bike, or at least feigning to get on the bike, basically cancels the phone call temporarily. It'll come back in 20 seconds, but it's enough for us to start the mission now, because we don't want to take it just yet. Yeah, onto mall shootout. So this one is pretty much exactly the same as how we dealt with the previous mission, where we're just going to kill them really quickly with a chainsaw. But the main important thing here is we're going to do a what is called like a fall cancel or a roll cancel. And basically how it works is we're going to jump off of a ledge. So we're going to jump onto the ledge and then fall off the ledge. And from there, we are going to, I don't know if there's anywhere where I can show it to you. Maybe here off the staircase would work. I don't know, maybe not. It gives me time to talk about it anyway. Yeah, we're going to do what's called a roll cancel. And basically you fall off a ledge. And then when you land, you press your jump key, which for me is space. And what that's going to do is it's going to cancel the forward roll animation that Tommy does. And that is going to allow us to run after this guy and chainsaw him. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to go up here. We're not going to skip the cutscene until he moves like that. And then we're going to drop off, press space. You can press it as many times as you like as soon as you land. And then we're going to run after him and chainsaw him just like this. And that kills him without having to deal with the chase segment that you would have here. Don't worry about the rain. This rain has only come in because I'm, taking a very long time to play because I'm, talking to you. I'll also show you the driving route here. That if you don't want to go around the hospital, you can just go this way. Just to show you both routes so you can decide which one is better for you. You just go this way and then you cut across like we did in the first mission, just here. This mission, we don't need to pay and spray. We can just head back with the 2 stars. The game doesn't care. And the other thing that's worth noting that if you do get rain, or if you're driving on grass, which is important for the hospital route, if you brake in rain, like if you just hold S to slow down, you slide, right? Like you see there, you start like spinning a little bit, like you turn. If you hold your brake and your handbrake, which for me is for S and space, you don't slide, as you can see. You brake normally. So if you ever get rain and you're struggling with slowing down without slipping and sliding, that's why. Hold a brake and handbrake at the same time. So once you're done with those two missions, we're on to Guardian Angels, and this is where the replay comes in that we made. We're going to hop on the bike. Make sure you're fully on the bike, because if you play this too early, you'll warp without the bike, and we want it. And then we're going to press F3 to play the replay of us that we made during Treacherous Swine over the rifle. Again, we want to skip this cutscene, but we're in a vehicle, so we press W to skip it. And then we're going to pick up the gun. For some reason, it doesn't count as collected in the replay, so we have to collect it a second time. You don't need to collect it, but it's safer, so I'd recommend as a beginner to do it. And then this is going to be another cool garage exit, but this one is even trickier. So, but it's the same concept, only this one you want to be a little further away. So when we were doing it at Treacherous Swine, we were sat right here, right, like parallel to the ledge. This does work, but I found it to be quite a lot easier if you stay at like more of like a 45-degree angle for this one. And we want to be aiming, like, I can't show you because I don't have a mouse, but if you imagine where I'm bonking here, this is where you want to be hitting. You don't want to be hitting the corner. You want to be hitting like the side and ramping off that to get over the corner. And the really important thing is that you wheelie very early, because if you pull back too late, you'll just hit the ledge again and you'll fall out. So I'll give you a showcase as to what it looks like. You pull here, wheelie nice and early, and then you come out on the other side. And then we're going to make a replay. If for whatever reason you lose the bike or whatever, just grab a car from down here. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got Lance with you, that's all that matters. So we're going to make a replay here over this clothes icon. This clothes icon is really overpowered. So again, F2, F3, F3, F2. We're going to get back on the bike. You will see how broken this clothes replay is in this next mission. And this is also going to be something that you might get stuck on as a beginner. It might require some practice. So this is a good point to mention that there are practice saves for every single mission that have it exactly like it would be in speedruns. You know, you've got the same weapons, you've got the same replays and everything. Sorry, not replays because they're not stored in save files, but there are replays within the save files, so you can put them into your game directory and have them ready as well. Or you can make your own, it's completely up to you. But the point is that you can practice all of these missions individually at any time. You don't have to start an entire run to get the same, like, you know, scenario as it would be. So those are all available on speedrun.com on the resources section, or you can ask in the GTA Speedrunning Discord. I'll link both of them below, hopefully. This mission is pretty chill as a beginner because it's basically an auto-scroller. You're just killing guys as they come in. But the ending part is the difficult part because we're going to use the close replay to gain control during the cutscene and kill the people at the end. Which is to say, it's quite difficult if you're a beginner, but with some practice, you'll be able to get it pretty consistently. It's not too bad. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heal. If you need to, there's no reason not to because we're just waiting around. So we might as well go here and grab this health. And then we're just going to hop down. And then we're going to bring out our chainsaw. And we're going to kill these two guys and these two guys. The reason for that, and only kill them once that yellow dot has spawned on the minibat. Very important. The reason for that is because we want as much ammo for the Uzi as possible. You can grab the Tech 9 here instead of the Uzi, which I picked up. But I much prefer the Uzi. I think it's a lot more versatile. So that's what I'll be using for this playthrough. And then just grab as much ammo as you can. Kill these guys as they come in. Same again here. We're just going to bring out our chainsaw. Chainsaw is very overpowered. Just massacre all of these guys. Like, basically spawn killing them is the idea. And then here, we're going to crouch down and grab these guys. We're going to kill them with the Ruger from far away because they spawn in a van. But we can, again, just spawn kill them like this second they spawn in. Be careful with shooting the van, because if you shoot it like this and you blow it up while they are getting out, it causes a double explosion like that. So I'm going to pause here because it's like a very tight timing and I want to talk about it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to line ourselves up with the final two guys. And there's going to be a guy that gets out at the back of the car relative to where we're standing. It's the right side of the car. To UK people, it's the driver's side. To everybody else, to the normal people, the Europeans and the Americans, it's the passenger side. And then the one closest to us, vice versa, whichever way you do it. So for me, that would be the passenger side, but for you, it's probably the driver's side. So anyway, so the guy who's furthest at the back is going to run away from us. So we're going to kill him first because he's more difficult to kill. So we're going to prioritize him. And then we are going to switch our aim to kill the guy who's closest to us. And as we are about to kill the guy who is closest to us, we are going to play our replay, so F3. And that is going to give us control in this cutscene where we can then move and kill the next guys before they even manage to drive away. You'll see it here. They're going to pull up. I've got my finger hovering over F3, and I'm going to headshot this guy, play my replay just at the right time. Now, because in the cutscene, I currently have my assault rifle, I'm going to press Q once to move one weapon up to my Uzi. I'm going to sprint here into this like pole, and then I'm going to shoot this guy. This, again, is very difficult to explain and do at the same time. But the idea is that you spawn here, and you have the assault rifle out. I use Q and E to move my weapons. You can also use the mouse wheel, so scroll down, scroll up. So if you want to use the mouse wheel, you need to scroll up once to go to the Uzi, like this. That allows you to sprint. And then we're going to run here. And if you walk into, because you can't move the camera when you're in that weird cutscene movement. So instead, you just gain the movement, and I line myself up so that Tommy's like right shoulder is going to push past this pole. And I jog into it, and that puts me perfectly in position, as you can see the crosshair, to kill this guy who's right here on the bike. That's how I do the lineup. So no matter where I am, I line myself up here, and it pushes me, and then I'm right here to kill this guy. And then we can grab the briefcase. As I say, if you do with that guy, just do the mission normally. Just grab the Sanchez and go and chase him down. It's only about 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. But that's something that will require some practice. And the same with this one here at Guardian Angels. We're going to walk into this marker, and just as we're about to start the cutscene, we're going to play the replay again. And then we're going to hold S and D to walk towards this bike that's going to spawn here. And then we're going to get on the bike at a certain timing. So I'll tell you when that timing is. It's when Diaz is going to say, and it's all thanks to you. And when he says you, that's when you press F to get on the bike. I'm going to walk, play the replay.
I live. Take heads. And it's all down to you. What is your
Sorry, all
name?
down to you. And then we're going to drive on the bike and drive away.
Shit. Where's that guy, Lance?
So it's all down to you. That's when you press F. As I say, you might need to rewatch that and watch my inputs on the top left, but that's what the inputs are for, so you know exactly what to press and when to press it. So, once you're done with Guardian Angels, if you've made it this far again, congratulations. That's quite a big hurdle. These missions get even easier. These ones are really, really chill. There's nothing really to it. The only thing that you might struggle with is this here, but it's called the gate zip. And the idea is that we're going to pull up and like push our bike like this into, I didn't mean to actually gate zip there. That was not intentional. I did it by mistake. I meant to like give you an idea. But the idea is that we push into the gate just like that. And then once we are at the height of our, like once we're as far in as possible, you press F to dismount and it's going to teleport you through. If you fall off the bike or something and the call comes in, you can hold down your caps lock key in order to hold the phone call so that you can try it again without canceling the phone call, because we want to take the phone call right now. There's lots of things to talk about here, so I've just paused again to go through things. But yeah, if you don't manage to hold the phone call, don't worry about that. We'll talk about holding phone calls all the way at the end. So you can wait until the end, and then you'll get an idea as to how to hold the phone call. And then you can use it. You come back to gate zip later on. But the important thing is that you push all the way into the left-hand side of that gate. Again, look at the video if you're unsure on the reference. Just rewind a little bit. And then when you're at the height, so you're fully like... upright, like you've done a full wheelie, then you press F to get off the bike and it'll teleport you through. Now, once we've got the phone call and we're through the gate, we need to glitch the phone call. And glitching phone calls allows us to sprint while answering the phone, which you usually can't do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold tab and immediately hold right click. And that is going to tab the phone, glitch the phone call. And that allows me to switch weapons back to my Uzi. And as you can see, I can sprint while I'm waiting. It's very important that you only glitch phone calls with an weapon. Oh my god, I can't talk. With a weapon that you can aim with right click. So for example, the Ruger here is the only one that we can do it with. You can also do it with the M60, the sniper rifle, things like that. But in our current inventory, we can't do it with the Uzi. We can only right click and aim in first person with the Ruger. So use the Ruger to glitch the calls. Later on, we'll use different weapons, but for now, the point is you can't do it with yellow weapons or a chainsaw or anything. That's not possible. So just keep that in mind. If you're wondering why it doesn't work, you might be using the wrong weapon. So this chase is pretty annoying. I find it like probably the hardest drive in the game. But again, it's just, you know, something that you get used to. But it's very easy to crash here. So just, you know, again, play safe. The more confident you get, the faster you can go. So we're going to hop out here, and this is where we're going to use our infinite sprint here. Our tapping the sprint. So if you're struggling with sprinting and keeping it and not running out of stamina, what I do is I tap about once per footstep, as you can see for Tommy. So tap, 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 tap. And what we're going to do is we're going to outrun this guy, and this is going to allow us to break the mission. I stand here for about 2 seconds and run against the wall to make sure that I don't overtake him too much. Because if I do, I'm going to be too fast, and that's going to be bad for the mission. So I'm going to run, and I'm going to stand in this particular place. I'm going to then steal this car before he drives off. And I'm going to drive towards the wall here. I'm going to wait for him to get in, and I'm going to drive away. And what that has done is he tried to steal the car back from me, but because I was moving and because my driver's side door was blocked, he instead got in the passenger side and was unable to hijack me. So instead, he just gets in the passenger side, and now we can drive him to his destination. There are faster ways of doing that, but that's the easiest way to do it, which still saves quite a lot of time. So that's what I'd recommend to learn as a beginner. And again, if you want to learn more complicated versions of that, you can learn it in the intermediate video that I plan to make. Nice and easy. So here we're going to head this way. This barricade has a really big collision box, so make sure you drive right against the wall here. And then we're going to send this car into the ocean, which sounds like a terrible idea, but this car actually has the heavy property from the previous mission, which allows it to not drown. It is not possible to drown. So instead, we're going to clip out of bounds, and it's going to again teleport us, similar to the gate zip. It's going to teleport us on the other side of the barricade so we can access the second island early. And that is going to allow us to get the Vice City News helicopter, which is right here. And we're going to use it for the mid-game, because it is very fast. So helicopter flying is a skill that you'll learn over time, but the idea is that you kind of do it like tap sprinting. You hold W and you tap lean forward. So for me, it's either right click or W. And as you can see, I'm just tapping it every now and again. Because if you tap it too much, you'll nosedive. And if you don't tap it at all, you just go up rather than forward. So you want to get like a rhythm to it, like tap, 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 tap. It's slightly slower tapping than it is the sprinting, at least in my eyes. But yeah, the simple idea is that you just want to tap. And then we're going to land behind the mansion here. It is very important that you're very careful with this landing when you start off, because these like pillars on the edge of the pools have a big hitbox. So you want to land right in the middle of them like this, ideally on this grass patch. But as you can see, if I move slightly too far left, I start spinning out, and that is very, very bad. So I'm going to save this by cheating, but obviously that was just to showcase you. So don't worry about this. I'm just cheating to fix my helicopter like it never happened. So now we're back here to square one. Obviously, don't use cheats in your speedrun. That would be very silly. It is against the rules. This is purely for practicing and showcasing. But instead, you want to land straight in the middle so you don't hit any of them. Now we're going to glitch this phone call again. Again, you need to have a aimable weapon. Hold tab and right click like this. And then we can switch back and run towards the front of the mansion. And start the next mission.
I'm looking for the money, Sonny. Don't worry.
I am worrying, Tommy. That's my style, because I seem to have this problem in my life with unreliable people. Don't be an unreliable person, Tommy, please. Do us both a favor. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
This next mission is quite chill. It is, again, pretty much an auto-scroller, depending on how fast or slow you are. One thing that we're going to do to make this way easier is, as you can see, the M60 that we have currently fires at this fire rate, which is good, but not great. But if we play our close replay by pressing F3, and then we right-click, we can fire at 1 bullet per frame. So now we fire extremely quickly, which is very good. Tommy kind of blocks your view, so you can crouch down to not have him block you as well. And you can still shoot very quick, so as you can see, you just destroy anything. Any vehicle just doesn't stand a chance. So you can just use this to massacre everybody. And it also saves quite a lot of time because this auto-scroller, quote-unquote, is based on how quickly you kill everybody. So if we kill them all fast, then we'll save time. I know that's a very foreign concept for a speedrun, isn't it? It's very basic. Go fast and you'll save time. So you want to kill these guys, and then you also want to blow up these barrels here. That's for safety later on. There's a chance that the barrels can get shot and kill you when you're up on that roof at the end of the mission. So just keep that in mind. Pre-fire this van, kill all these guys, kill this guy, this guy, this guy, and then ideally you want to go for these guys at the back here. Because as you can see, these guys at the basketball court, they're very hard to see when Lance is swinging towards the east. He like sways back and forth. So you want to go for the guys towards the west while Lance is on the west side when he's swaying back and forth, if that makes sense. Kill all these guys. You can pre-fire this van to kill this guy in the middle. Kill this guy. This guy, this guy, this guy, and then you can start pre-firing these guys in the cutscene. There is a strategy with Lance where you can kill him, but it is risky. You can softlock if you mistime it, so I'm not going to show you how to do it. Again, that is going to be in a more intermediate guide. So instead, we're just going to gain control, switch to our Uzi so we can sprint, and just run all the way through, and then run to the left side of this guy. If you run to the right side, you can get stuck on him. So if you run to his left side, you never get stuck. Just keep that in mind. As you can see, they don't care about you when you're in a cutscene, so you can just leave and skip that entire section of the mission. Start the next one. So next up, it's the fastest boat. This is an extremely easy mission. This is the easiest one, in fact. If you are pressed for health, number one, you can skip over this. If you just hold W and D, you can just go right over there. And also, if you're lacking health, you're going to need to take a few shots in this mission. So you can always just heal here. I wouldn't recommend healing unless you're on like 50 or less health. But obviously, if you're a beginner and you want to play safe and you don't want to die, then, you know, it's always a good idea to heal. Better safe than sorry, right? The main important thing. So this strategy is really, really easy. All that you need to do is just go to a certain place and press F to get in the boat, and you can teleport right into the boat, and it skips having to do the entire section where you pull the lever down. So we're going to drive into this bit here, the cutscene. Press W to skip the cutscene, and then press F once you're in the corner to get into the boat. Simple as that. It is very important that you drive into that cutscene with the Infernus, because we're going to start doing some vehicle management here. And you can only have 2 vehicles at any one time that are like Tommy's personal vehicles. So any other vehicles we want to despawn, and driving into that cutscene with the Infernus marks it for despawn, which is good because it means that our helicopter doesn't despawn, because we want to keep that for later missions. So heli's still here, which is brilliant. Gonna head back towards the front of the mansion again. We want to take another phone call here from Cortez this time. So we're just gonna wait around for the phone call and take it, and then we're gonna start the next mission.
Tommy, it's me, Colonel Cortez. Look, senor, I believe you are a man who can get things done. So please help me. You can find me at the boat, huh?
This next mission is also very, very simple. The second half is an auto-scroller, and the first half is just driving. So it is boat driving, so if you're not used to boat driving, then it can be a little tricky, but I'll show you a way to make it really easy. So the idea of this is it's a race. You've got to race these guys to get to a boat that is selling off drugs, and you need to be the first one there. They all take the slowest route, so if you take the faster route, it's very easy to win. North is the quickest route. They go east, so all you got to do is drive north and then go east here instead around this island, and this takes you pretty much right there. The only thing that you need to be careful of is this bit is a little narrow, so just be careful turning this corner. Make sure that you don't hit any of the walls, because you can flip your boat, and that's not very good. But aside from that, we are chilling.
Watch yourself. They're coming from all over.
So this auto-scroller is very chill. You can do the whole F3 thing here to shoot 1 bullet per frame. Again, This auto-scroller isn't necessary because it actually is a timed auto-scroller. So technically playing the replay would slow the game down because it freezes the game for a frame also. But if you're struggling with the auto-scroller, you can do that exactly the same as you did in Phnom Penh to make it easier. Because as I say, if you're a beginner, safety is what matters. The important thing is getting through the missions consistently. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going, really. But I'd recommend sticking with it and just playing it legit, quote unquote, like without the glitch, because it is the most optimal way to play, and it's not that difficult. As long as you like learn where everybody is, you pre-fire everybody, like blow up the barrels, kill these guys, and then there's only one person in front of you. It's really not that bad. The only thing that I would say here is do not kill this driver. Kill the guy on the left, which is the gunner. The gunner is obviously the threat to you. The driver doesn't shoot you. But the reason why you shouldn't kill this driver is because if you do, his boat will stop and Lance will hit it, and there is a chance that you can flip the boat and either go off course, which will lose your time, or worse, die. It has happened before. I've seen it many times where a beginner who doesn't know any better shoots this guy, Lance ramps off, flips the boat, and kills you both. So, yeah, you can just leave him alive. He's not a threat to you. So, yeah. We're going to do some more close replay shenanigans here. Again, it's only like 10 seconds save, so don't worry about it if you're struggling to do it. But as soon as the boat is about to hit the jetty, we're going to press F3. They gain control in the cutscene again. And this just allows us to run up towards our helicopter before we, you know, would be able to usually. You can hear me get into the helicopter with the audio, as you can tell, in the helicopter, and then we can fly away straight to Cortez. It's very important that you are careful with your movement there. Don't just go sprinting off because you can fall into the water and die, which is obviously bad. Yeah, we're going to go straight to Cortez. And this is going to be about the halfway mark in the run. So we're making good pace, doing well, if I do say so myself. Gonna park our thing here. Be careful of the trees. They have surprisingly big hitboxes. Cancel this call because it's a long call. We don't want to take it just yet. Start say yes, sir. You get a full heal here, so you're up to 100 armor and health, as you can see. So if you were struggling for health, don't worry about it. You don't need to go and heal because you get a full heal here, which is very nice. So we're done with our close replay for now. We're not going to be done entirely, but we're going to be done for the time being with the close replay. We're going to make a different replay over the Cherry Poppers ice cream factory here. We're going to use this for a teleport later on. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly in through here. We're going to make a replay again, F2, F3, F3, F2. And we're going to use that later on, but we'll talk about that when we come to it. This tank drives to you from the north to the south of the map. And you're driving from the south to the north, so as you can imagine, the quicker you get to it, the less time you have to spend chasing it around. You want to kind of meet it in the middle, ideally. So park in this nice little opening of trees. We're going to come back to that helicopter later. Take out your M60, kill this guy, and then when they get out, you can just steal the tank very easily. You can move the tank cannon around. Again, this depends on your controls. For me, it's arrow keys. And you can shoot behind you, but just be very careful that you don't accidentally shoot your helicopter and blow it up. So if you want to be safe, I would wait until you turn this corner. Now you can start shooting because you're miles away from the helicopter. And now you can use this to actually gain quite a lot of momentum. As you can see, you can propel yourself forward quite fast, which is very nice. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that long Lance phone call that we skipped before the start of this mission, because we've got a long walk back to the helicopter. And we're also going to glitch cars during it. So what I mean by glitching cars is you can put a car in a state where the driver doesn't despawn anymore and the car stays in the game's memory. Now, as you can imagine, this game only has so much memory to dedicate to cars. So if you glitch like 3 or 4 cars, then you'll never have traffic on the streets again, which makes it very easy to deal with. So we're going to run to this intersection. We're going to pull out the M60. We're going to glitch the call. And we're going to have a look around for any cars to glitch. So the way you glitch a car is you shoot it until the owner gets out, and then you double tap F1 just like that. Any replay works, but F1 is much easier to understand. If you have any cars coming to you on this part of the road, you can shoot them and then get out just like this. And then we're going to head this way. You can also glitch cars on this street, so don't worry too much about that eastern road just there. You want to go here and glitch some cars again. When you're a total beginner, I would recommend prioritizing glitched cars over time. So here, as you can see, I got like an extra glitched car there, rather than trying to be efficient and run back to the helicopter. Once your time starts getting down to more like, you know, sub 1 level, like sub 1 hour, then you want to be back at the helicopter by the time that the phone call runs out. Because otherwise, obviously, the time that you spent glitching cars you can be technically done more efficiently elsewhere. But as a beginner, I would strongly recommend getting at least 3 glitch cars, if not 4 or 5, because that will make it much easier later on to drive without traffic. And it's much easier to be fast when there isn't cars blocking you constantly. So we're going to head over here to the Malibu Club. Careful of the trees and the lampposts and stuff. Park in between them, like here. Gonna take the Kent Pole call, start this mission. This mission is quite tricky. We're going to make it a lot easier because of the helicopter, but the helicopter flight is quite difficult, so this will also require some practice. If at any time you destroy your helicopter, you can always get another one. The helicopter saves so much time that it is likely worth it for you to get an entirely new one. Very cool. The thief stole my helicopter. Make sure that doesn't happen. That is very rare, which is funny that it happened on the tutorial. If you'd have flown off with it, I would have not been very happy. But yes, the VCN heli saves so much time that if you're ever to a point where your heli is like 1 HP here, you might be better off flying to the VCN building as like a detour to grab it and then go to the junkyard, for example. Obviously, it depends on where you are at the time, but my point is that prioritize getting a good, nice, healthy helicopter rather than losing it later on and then having to deal with not having a helicopter for this mission or later missions. It's not worth it, trust me. So we're going to head towards a junkyard and we're going to park right in the back corner where we can save Lance without having to deal with all this stuff. If you're a beginner, there's a chance that you can despawn your helicopter here. So what I would do is I would recommend going in nice and slow, like this, and then I would recommend re-entering the helicopter. Once you get to a certain level later on, you don't need to do this, but if you re-enter the helicopter, it guarantees that it never despawns. You can kill these guys. And then we can kill this guy. Make sure that you don't accidentally have an angle that shoots Lance here, because you can kill him through that guy, and that's obviously not very good. So the reason it despawns is because the game marks vehicles for despawns when somebody is aggressive towards you, which, as you can see, there are a lot of aggressive enemies during this mission, and the driver's sides to the left side of the vehicle is blocked by a wall. So as you can see, when you land there, there's quite a couple of walls that you can deal with. Also, hold sprint here the whole time, because Lance will sprint after you, as you can see. If you tap sprint, he won't follow you, and you'll get him stuck, and he'll likely die. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, anyway. So if you don't want to despawn the helicopter, re-enter it every single time until you're more confident. But if you're confident that you haven't blocked the left side door while you're being, chased on this mission, then you can get away with not re-entering it. But for beginners, for all intents and purposes, re-enter it. Speaking of the helicopter despawning, it is also very important that you land inside of this marker in the helicopter and then re-enter it afterwards. Otherwise, there is a chance that your helicopter will despawn later on in a mission. So this heli landing is fairly tricky because of all the poles and stuff. But again, just practice it. Rather than trying to get out and walk him into the marker and then re-entering it later. So once the mission is complete, get out and get in. This is going to stop the helicopter from despawning. So now we are 100% good. Our helicopter has a 0% chance to despawn later on. You can still despawn it by making mistakes, but we'll go into those later. But for now, it is 100% going to stay on this next mission, which is great. So we're going to fly back to Diaz. This is the big pivotal moment in the story where you kill him and take over his mansion and stuff, and you go into the second half of the game. Usually it's a big boss fight, excuse me, but we're gonna basically skip the whole thing, as I'll show you in just a second. But for now, you want to make sure that you park here in the rose bushes. There are different places that you can park the helicopter that are more efficient, but you can despawn the helicopter if you don't park in the right place. So the rose bushes are always a good reference as to where to park, basically. So the marker, a good reference to know where the marker is stand on the pavement block that is opposite this lane here. So this is where the marker is going to be. So once you've got the call, you can just stand here. Here we go. Start the mission. Skip all these cutscenes, there's like 3 of them. And then we're going to go here. If you're a beginner, you don't have to do this, but you can be safe and just kill these 2 guys. And then these 2 guys here. Obviously, again, the more confident you can get, you don't have to kill any of these guys, but it's a confidence thing, right? And obviously, I'm going to kill them because I'm going to take a while to show this stuff and I don't want to die. So what we're going to do is we're going to clip through this little bit of the mansion. The wall is a facade, doesn't actually exist. You can just walk right through, but it is a little inconsistent. So what you want to do is you want to start sprinting into this wall at about this angle. It's like, if you imagine this is 0 degrees and this is 45 degrees, it's somewhere in the middle, like about 25 degrees relative to the wall. And you want to make sure that you are tapping sprint, because if you hold sprint, there is a chance that you might not clip through, and then you'll run out of stamina and you'll have to wait for your stamina to regenerate. So you want to run towards the wall and start sprinting into it like this. And as you can see, you start like awkwardly clipping, and then you get through. That may take some practice. Have a look at the video again to see the exact angle that I choose, because the angle is very important. Once you're through here, you can switch to your chainsaw and actually chainsaw Diaz through the wall. Again, make sure that you are running up the staircase and you don't sprint, because again, you can knock him out of his reference. You can knock him away from the wall, which makes him more difficult to kill. So just hold W and hold left click. You can just kill him through the wall. And then we can jump down here, and we can end the mission by just walking through the red carpet here. It's a little bit to the left of the red carpet, but that's where the trigger is to end the mission. There is another end marker upstairs which you can use, but I feel like the easiest one for beginners is the one downstairs. And they're both pretty much the same. So once we're done with that, we can immediately walk outside and start the next mission, which is Shakedown. We're going to use our helicopter. There is more Uzi ammo if you need it. You shouldn't need it, but you can grab it. There's like 250 bullets there if you need it. And then we're going to fly towards the mall. So I was talking before, right at the start, of the rare instances of RNG or luck that you need in this game. They are rare, but this is also an instance of luck. The way this mission works is we're going to shoot a lot of windows, and the first bullet can mathematically never break the window. Every subsequent bullet is luck, whether it breaks it. It's a percentage chance to break the window. So there is a chance that you could fire 2 or 200 bullets and you won't break the window. So if you're getting unlucky, don't worry, it's not your fault. It's just the way it is. But it's unlikely that you'll lose a ton of time, because, you know, we're going to throw a lot of bullets at these windows. So be careful with driving too close here with the helicopter, because you don't want to smash into those walls and get stuck in this bit. So just make sure you park nice in the open area here. So we're going to go through and we're going to shoot these windows. There is 2 ways to reload your weapon that is really quick. One of them is waiting until you've exhausted your clip and then double tapping crouch like that to cancel the reload animation, like this. Or you can play a replay to reload at any time. So you can double tap F1 and you can reload your gun like this to basically have like infinite bullets. Obviously not infinite, because it's, you know, doesn't give you infinite ammo, but, you know, you don't have to reload basically. So we're going to go ahead and make a shopping trip at ammunition. We're going to go ahead and buy some body armor. Left click is buy in the, if you're used to the international version where it's sprint to buy guns, for some reason in this it's left click. I don't know why, but just keep that in mind. It's left click to buy guns. You want to buy some grenades and you want to buy a sniper rifle, and then press sprint to cancel and leave the ammunition. I don't know why the controls are the way they are, but that's a Japanese version thing. And then we're going to line up some grenades here. We're going to jump over this little section in the middle. We're going to run and we're going to aim our head to be, it's kind of difficult to explain, but I'll just show you what I do. I walk a couple of steps forward and I full throw towards this planter here. As you can see, if you still have markers on the left hand side, you just need to go a little further left. And you can throw and destroy those. And then for the one at the front, I aim towards the palm trees. So fully charged throw over to the palm trees and you should blow them up. This reference is always one of those things where when I try and describe how to do it, I never do it correctly, but I can do it in one fell swoop if I just do it as I'm doing the mission. So we'll go back and I'll show you. So I go here, I jump over, I throw a grenade this way, and I throw a grenade this way, like that. And that will blow them up, as you can see. I can do it in one fell swoop, but I can't do it slowing down for some reason. So if you want to look at the references, that's all you need to do. Use the M4 here to destroy all these windows at once, and then we're going to go ahead and move towards the Infernus here. So there are a couple of ways to execute the glitch that we're about to do. The easiest way is to just spam 2 buttons. The faster the better. So what you can do is you can go in here and you can start mashing tab and F3. There is a chance that a cop will aggro you for stealing this, so just keep that in mind that you might need to move before you get busted. But we're just going to spam tab and F3 until we teleport, basically. As you can see there, we teleported. As I say, the faster the better. There isn't a rhythm there. Just mash as quickly as you can, and eventually you'll teleport. As you can see, the game is very broken right now. What has basically happened is we teleported out of the mall. But because we never left the mall through the front door, the game still thinks that we're in the mall, and that is going to be very useful for Copland later, for a reason that we'll get to once we get there. But the most important part is that now we're in the interior world, okay? So we've teleported out of the mall all the way back to basically our next mission, which is great because it's a nice free teleport. But also we need to be careful where we're driving, as you can see, because we can't really see where we're going. You can use the minimap as a reference, but all that you need to do is go slightly left over the hump and then drive through the gates, and this is to Starfish Island again. There's a really easy way to know where to park, because we're going to park up just right here, and it's where that pill is. You see that little pickup there? We're going to park right against the wall, right next to this pickup here. And that is also where the mansion doors are, which is where we need to be. We're going to get out, we're going to gotcha this call. We're going to hop over the Infernus, over the wall. Be careful that you don't pick up this pill by mistake. If you do, it's not a big deal. It just slows the game down, so you'll lose time. We're going to run inside, and now the interior world is cancelled. So we're back to normal again. Again, that might take a bit of practice, because obviously you're basically driving blind. So just be careful of that. It is also very important that you get back in the same Infernus that you just parked. Do not grab the one at Diaz's place. If you do, your helicopter will despawn. If your helicopter does despawn, I will show you a backup, but obviously the important thing is to have it not despawn in the first place. There's a couple of things that we're going to do to make sure it doesn't despawn, but if it does, I will show you a backup helicopter you can use later on when it becomes a factor. So, this snipe that we're about to do at the end of this mission is quite tricky. And there are basically three, like, ramifications, like three outcomes as to what happens. And what you need to do changes depending on what the outcome is, if that makes any sense. So there's like three endings to the mission. Basically on how much you mess up the strat. If you get it, you half get it, or you don't get it. And I'm going to talk you through all three of these scenarios, because obviously beginners, they might hit the snipe, they might not hit the snipe. It's not a guarantee that you're going to do it, as it's quite difficult. So what is going to happen is we're going to set up, so there's two guys that are coming out on bikes, PCJs, right? And we need to kill both of them. The ideal scenario is that we kill them both before they drive away, right? Then that's great, we've killed them, the mission is passed. If you hit that snipe, you don't have to do anything that I'm just about to explain to you. The only time you do these things that I'm about to explain is as a backup if you don't hit the snipe, which is the more likely scenario because it's a difficult strategy, okay? So in the event that you hit one guy, you kill him, but then you are not able to kill the second guy and he drives away, you need to get on that first bike that you took the first guy out on, chase him down, drive by him on the bike, and then once the mission passes, get off the bike and re-enter it again. That is to make sure that the bike doesn't despawn for the same reason that we talked about the helicopter before, okay? If you don't hit any of the snipes, so you don't kill either of the guys, you are going to have to use the backup helicopter that I will talk about during Copland, okay? I'm sorry that's quite confusing, but it is very important that I talk about all three scenarios, because if I only talk about one and you get a different one, you're not going to know what to do. If you get the snipe and you don't have to deal with anything that I just said, so don't worry about it. It is very important that you park your Infernus here where I've parked it, like basically parallel to this building, because we want it to despawn for the same reason that we wanted the Infernus to despawn earlier as well, to keep our helicopter. We're going to get out. We are going to use our M60 to blow up this car to kill these right inside guys. And then we are going to throw a grenade over this wall to kill this last guy. And then it's going to be a couple of seconds and a cutscene is going to play. In the time that we are waiting for that cutscene, we are going to run around the corner and set ourselves up for the snipe. This might be difficult in rain. I've never done this in rain before because, again, the rain is on a fixed cycle and I'm going very slow because I'm talking about stuff as I go. So we'll see how it goes in rain. You likely won't have rain here. It's very unlikely that you will. But yeah, what we're going to do is we are going to run into a certain location, which will be set up for the snipe. And then we are going to crouch. We're going to press C to crouch our character. And the reason for that is because if we are crouched, we don't move in the cutscene. Tommy is scripted to walk away from our reference in the cutscene for some reason. And if you crouch, that stops that from happening. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to throw the grenade over. We're going to run over here. We're going to crouch next to this tree. And we're going to wait for the guys to come. Because we're crouched, we don't move in the cutscene. And we can try and snipe these guys. So kill that first guy, kill that second guy. So that is best case scenario. If that happens, you can just grab either PCJ and just ride to the next mission. You don't have to re-enter the bike. You don't have to get the backup helicopter. You've done everything correctly. But again, to reiterate, because it's very important, if you kill the first guy, but you don't kill the second guy, you need to chase him down on the bike that you did recover, and then re-enter the bike after the mission is passed. Very, very important. So please keep that in mind. So again, we're going to park in the rose bushes to make sure the bike doesn't despawn here. So we're just going to turn it around, park here, and we're going to take the Avery Carrington call.
Howdy, son. Just thought I'd ring you up and give you some advice.
And then we're going to start Copland. So Copland, as soon as we start it, it's going to give us 5 stars. And the reason for that is if you start this mission and you're in the mall without a cop uniform, you get 5 stars. And because we teleported out of the mall, the game still thinks we're inside it without a cop uniform, which means 5 stars. Okay. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to do here, which are very important to make sure that you don't get destroyed by the cops. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run ahead of the sentinel in front of me that has spawned. The reason for that is if you run around the back, which a lot of people do, it can cause Lance to get stuck on it. And if you're waiting for him, you can get busted by the cops. 5-star cops are very, very dangerous. And this is why we glitch cars beforehand as well, because doing this without glitch cars would be a complete crapshoot. But the less traffic equals less cops. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hold sprint the whole time so that Lance sprints after me. And I'm also going to run ahead of the bike and then run back to the bike. And that is to give Lance enough time to get to the bike at the same time that I do. Again, any time that you are on the bike and you're waiting for Lance is a chance that you can get destroyed by the cops. So you never want to be in that position. So I'm going to run ahead. I'm going to run towards the bike. I'm going to run back again like this. And as soon as I get on, Lance is right here ready to go. If you see a cop like this, shoot him. The reason for that is, if you have 3 stars or more, they can throw a spike strip at you, which will pop your tires. And doing this with pop tires is hell on earth, let me tell you. If you do get pop tires, you most likely will need to switch vehicles. And if you do that, your VCN helicopter at the mall despawns, and you're going to need to take the backup helicopter. So if any of this goes wrong, please bear in mind that you're likely going to have to use the backup helicopter, which I will show you. Once you get to this junction, slow down, as there might be a cop that spawns on the right-hand side, just like that. If you go full force down there, you will get destroyed, so just be careful. Slow down, let him pass you, and then you can drive. Same goes for scripted spawns around here. You can get 2 cars that spawn there, so make sure that you stick on the right-hand side, off the path. Otherwise, again, you'll get wrecked by the cops, just be very careful. So again, we're going to go around here, and then we are going to park right in the middle of this garage. Ideally, turn around as well, like this. It's not a big deal if you can't turn around. But you want to get these 2 cops into the garage with you. If you don't sit in the middle of the garage, one of the cops can get stuck on either side. So it's very important that you stay in the middle. That is the most important part.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too.
So here we are going to leave. We don't want Lance to come with us. It's not a big deal if he does, but we would like to have him not with us. The reason for that is because he can die, and obviously AI is very stupid in old games, so I don't want to have to babysit him. So what I can do, as long as I have a gun out, I can punch him from close range, and that will knock him over, and then I can get on the bike and leave before he comes after me. So here on the left-hand side, this is the backup helicopter right here. If you have done any of these things wrong that we talked about, where you would need to take the backup helicopter, go over here and grab this helicopter, fly it over to the mall, and then get back in it after you've planted the bomb and fly away. But the best case scenario is that you don't have to do that, and instead you can take the PCJ here. There is a cop trap here that spawns, so go to the right-hand side on the pavement, as you can see there, otherwise you'll have to deal with them. And then, so basically I'm going to go through what happens if you have the bike, which is great, and the VCN helicopter is still here. Kill this guy, because he has an M4, which makes him very dangerous. We're going to go inside. We have to enter twice because of the memes that we talked about earlier with the leaving the mall. And then kill these 2 guys. And get off the bike and plant the bomb. If you don't have the bike here because of the backup helicopter, you are going to have to face tank these guys, which sounds really, really scary, but it isn't. All that you need to do is just go in like this. Like, let's say I don't have the bike. Kill this guy. Walk in with the M60, turn around and shoot them like that. And you will one-shot both of them. Again, it'll need some practice, but it really isn't that scary. And you can kill both of them very quickly. And then you're in the exact same position. Whether you have the Sparrow or the VCN chopper, it doesn't matter. Plant the bomb.
Okay, timers are set.
Walk away. And now all we need to do is get in our helicopter, whether it's the backup helicopter or the original helicopter, and fly back to the mansion. Now, there is a chance that there are cops here. What I would recommend doing, if there is a cop anywhere from here to here, kill them. Any guys from here, they're not really a threat to you, so you can just leave. If you want to be safe, if you're like, oh god, that cop's running towards me, then take him out. But as you can see, they're not even close to a threat. They take so long to get to you. But again, better to be safe than sorry, right? That's what always matters, better to be safe than sorry. Either way, we're going to fly directly back to the mansion. This, as you can see, massively trivializes this section of the mission, because usually driving back with 5 stars would be awful, but we have basically no traffic on the roads, and we don't, even if we did, it doesn't matter because we're flying a helicopter over everything anyway. So, yeah. Very, very nice. Very, very risky at the start, but very easy at the end way to deal with Copland. So it's fast and risky, but, you know, speedrunning for you. What's life without a little risk? So this next section is the end game, and this is where we're going to get back to some duping stuff. So again, apologies if you thought there was going to be no more big glitches. I do apologize. In order to beat games quick, sometimes you got to use glitches, you know? So this is going to take quite a bit of explaining. So I'm going to do it as I go, and I'll probably pause in many sections. So do bear with me. So the way you unlock the final 2 missions in Vice City is you need to complete the Vassetti Estate asset, which we just did by completing Barbaro and Copland here. This one, we need to pass the Printworks, which is around here. This is what we're going to go and head towards next. And then we need to do 5 other assets of our choice. We can do any of them. We can do the pole position down here, which is a strip club. We can do the Sunshine Autos, which is the car collecting. We can do the boatyard. We can do the ice cream company. We can do the taxi company, Malibu Club, film studios, you name it, anything that we want to do. But what we're going to do is the reason that we bought the Cherry Poppers place earlier with that teleport glitch is because we are going to use a glitch to pass the Cherry Poppers ice cream factory 5 times. So we're going to complete the Vassetti Estate, we're going to complete the Printworks, and then we're going to complete this 5 times, and that is going to give us all the assets that we need to unlock the final 2 missions of the game without actually doing any of the assets. That's the long and short of it. Let's get into how we do it. I'm going to park my helicopter around here. I'm going to get out, I'm going to glitch the call, and then we're going to run towards a rampage location is.
That's right, Sonny. We're all friends. You're never
There is a Katana rampage right here, which is very convenient because it's right next to the Printworks.
Trying to sort things out. You didn't give me a lot of support down here, Sonny.
Oh, my fault.
I'm going to make a replay, F2, F3, F3, F2, and I'm going to head towards the Printworks and buy it.
Busy taking over. Don't forget about us, Tommy, because I can assure you, I ain't forgotten about you.
So this is what we call a mandupe. It's a very silly word, but it basically means that this is a mandupe that a dupe that might like fail and cost you time. So it's very important that you should save the game right here, because this creates like a checkpoint, and if anything goes wrong, you can just come back to this safety checkpoint, which is ideal. It's worth noting that because you might need to reload that save here, if you reload your save at any time, you will lose your glitch traffic. So you can re-glitch the traffic. There is an efficient place later on to re-glitch traffic that I'll show you. But you can do it here if you want to be super safe, but obviously it's quite slow because you're not doing it during an efficient time. Or you can just do it without the glitch traffic. It is possible to finish the run without glitch traffic. It's just less consistent due to the traffic on the roads and stuff. There is also a mission later on that can fail due to having no glitch cars. It's kind of complicated, but I'll go into that later on. For now, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this save marker, we're going to walk into it, and we're going to play our replay just as we collide with the marker, like this. And hopefully, if all goes well, you'll be on the rampage, but you can also start the mission. If you start the rampage too early, then you will be on the rampage, but you won't be able to start the mission. That is 2 minutes time loss, so you just load the save if that happens. If you do like I did it the first time, if you don't pick up the rampage, but you pick up the save icon, that's fine. You can just try again. You are pending a phone call in a couple of seconds. So if you get the phone call and you can't cancel it on a vehicle nearby, again, just load the save and just keep trying until you get it. But yeah, that timing is quite tricky. So again, that'll require some practice. And it is kind of luck as well with the way that the pickups work in this game. They're on like a cycle. And if you can get what is called getting cycled, which is like getting unlucky with the pickups, sometimes he doesn't pick up stuff in time. It's complicated, but just know that it's not entirely consistent, but it is consistent enough that I can do it right in front of your eyes right now without much trouble. So you can get to that level. And then once you've started the mission, we're going to make a replay over the save marker, which is right here, F2, F3, F2, and we're going to hop in the taxi. You now have, however long is on the rampage timer, 2 minutes, or for me about 1 minute and 30 seconds, to get to a cutscene on the boat in this mission. If you don't get there, so I'll rephrase while we're getting the armor, just to be entirely sure, because this is like a common myth that people understand about this game. So what used to be, and I might have even told you this misinformation during one of my previous tutorials, because it was believed to be that case for a long time. What used to be said was that if you don't make it to the boat and the ooh ah not the face cutscene, if you don't make it there before the rampage timer runs out, you will soft lock. That's not entirely true. The way you soft lock is, so what's going to happen is I might as well keep playing. I don't know why I pause. The 45 seconds is going to run out, and then the phone call is going to ring. If the phone call stops ringing, then you will soft lock. So another like 10 seconds after that. But I don't want you to think as a beginner that if you don't make it in time with the rampage timer, you will soft lock. That isn't true. You don't have to reload the save. You still have another 10 seconds of leeway or so to deal with if you don't make it and the phone call starts ringing. The only time it's over is if the phone stops ringing. You can slice this guy with the katana here to be safe. I wouldn't recommend sprinting up these stairs. It's very easy to get stuck. But then I would recommend sprinting into this marker by holding sprint, because that allows you to run straight in rather than slowly walking in. And then I'm going to hold the inputs that you can see on screen, and I'm going to jump straight out, just like this, sprint jump. So what is it? I hold S. Let me think about that. Yeah, SD shift, which is my sprint key, and then I time it so I jump while holding sprint. Very important that you hold sprint, otherwise you won't make it, because you actually jump further if you're holding sprint. If you didn't know, it's called sprint jumping. And we jump all the way off the boat to skip having to run back past the guys, which is very, very nice. Then we drive here. We need to pick up 2 bribe stars because we need to have a phone call come in, which we can only do without a wanted level, as we know. There's a bribe star here, and there's also very conveniently a bribe star again right around the corner here. Now we are going to press F3, which is our save warp. I haven't talked about those yet, but basically if you have a save marker replay, which we made at the start of the mission, if you're in the same vicinity as the save marker, like the same district, like Little Haiti, downtown, etc., if you're within the same district and you pick up a save icon, you teleport to it. So we can use it as a teleport back to the printworks from where we currently are. Now, once we do that, it's very important that you follow exactly as I say. This section is complicated. This is where it's going to take a while to finally grasp. So I do apologize if I lose you at any point, but it's going to take some rewatches. And basically, if you do this correctly, there is no way to fail it. I'm going to show you a backup. We are going to do the glitch 5 times, and I'm going to show you every single backup subsequently. Like on attempt 2, I'll show you a backup if this happens. On attempt 3, I'll show you a backup if that happens, etc. To a point where you will know absolutely everything. And then I will show you another correct version if you do it correctly. So basically there's going to be 5 glitches. Ideally you do it the correct way every single time, but I'm going to show you a backup on dupes 2, 3, and 4 so that you can get an idea as to which way you want to do it. I'm going to show you the fast way. I'm going to show you the safe way. And then on the 5th one, I'll show you again how it looks for the sake of repetition. If that doesn't make sense, I'll go through with you like play by play, essentially. So we're going to teleport back. The phone call is going to ring once we get off. We're going to end this phone call with the phone call ringing. End this phone call. End this mission with the phone call ringing. That is going to give us what's called an on mission 0 phone call. And phone calls in this game are also used as a mission. It also sets your on mission flag to 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry that phone call into the next mission, the second mission of Printworks, which is hit the courier. And then we're going to cancel the phone call by getting on the bike and that's going to put us on mission 0, hit the courier. So we're on hit the courier mission, but we can start other missions because the game thinks we're not on a mission, right? And then when you get into the ice cream truck, and it just so happens that if you start hit the courier and then start the ice cream asset, it instantly passes the ice cream asset and gives you an asset. We're going to repeat that 5 times to gain the 5 assets like I talked about before. But we need to, in order to repeatedly chain it, we need to keep our phone call to be an on mission 0 phone call with us the entire time. So the way we do that is we, again, start the mission. The phone call is still ringing, as you can hear, and we get on the bike. There is a chance that the phone call doesn't ring. You don't hear it. You might still have it. It doesn't mean that it's over. The way you can easily know is when you get on the bike and then you look at the mini map, or in this case, the big map for the sake of showing you, you have all the mission icons. That means you're on mission 0 and it's all going correctly. If you get on the bike and you're on mission 1 and you don't see all these markers, then something has gone wrong. But there is a chance that the phone not ringing is a silent call, as we call it. So it's still ringing, but you can't hear it. But then you can still start the mission as normal and continue on. So the whole point of that, to avoid confusion, is I don't want you to use the phone ringing equals good, because that's not how that works. Mission icon equals good. No mission icon, bad. If you want to use a reference to know if you're correct, use the icons on the minimap. So as you can see, I have the minimap icons. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up. I'm going to get out. I'm going to hold W, Shift, and F to get in and out. And then I'm going to get on the bike, and I'm going to teleport. And then the fade is going to happen, as you can see there. That's the ice cream mission passing. And then I'm going to start the mission, and I've got the phone call again, and I can restart. Now, that requires fairly tight timing, and if you mess any of it up, you will lose the phone call, and that isn't the best thing ever, right? Not good, because you'll have to likely reload the save and do spilling the beans again. So what I'm going to show you, and this is the one that I would recommend you to do, okay? As a beginner, if you are going to take anything away from this segment, do this, what I'm about to do. So we're going to start it with the same thing again. We're going to go and we're going to get into the ice cream van. We're going to hold W and Shift and F, blah, 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 blah. Go here. Get in. Again, W, Sprint, and F. I should be more specific to get in and out. I'm going to wait for the phone call, and I'm going to hold my button. So I'm going to hold the caps lock button, which for me is my hold call key. And then I'm going to get on the bike, and I'm going to teleport like this with F3. I'm going to get off the bike. I'm going to jump into the marker and let go of caps lock to answer the phone call. Like this. And then I can skip the cutscene, and I can get on the bike and cancel the phone call, and then we've done another dupe successfully. The reason for that is because the first dupe required the type timing, the second one doesn't. All that you need to do in order to do the second one that I just showed you correctly, all that you need to do is get to the van before the phone call comes in, which is very easy to do. You have 20 seconds of leeway, drive down one street, okay? Even if you're a beginner, you should be able to do that most of the time, okay? The only way that one that I just showed you can go wrong is if you don't make it in time. But let's say, hypothetically, you don't make it in time. Heaven forbid. I will show you another backup to continue on as normal. So let's say, for example, I'm going here and I've gone, oh no, I've collided with this tree by mistake. I'm very slow now. I'm not going to make it to the van on time before the phone call comes in. So I pull up here. Sliding about, oh god, I'm too close, I'm getting scared. I get out and the phone call comes in. Oh shit, I've messed it up. English Ben, I'm so helpless, can you help me? Of course I can, no problem. So, all that you need to do is cancel the phone call, wait until you see the markers again on the minimap, and take a note of the in-game time on the clock. So it was about 18:15, right? So, in 20 seconds, that phone call is going to come in again at around 18:35. So all that I need to do is get in the van just before 18:35, so about 34. Get in and out. The phone call is going to come back in. Hold it, and then just rinse and repeat. Get back on the bike. Wait for the mission to pass. Teleport. Get out. Jump into the marker. Let go of caps lock. And you've done it again. Okay? So now we've done 3 dupes out of 5. Now, you might think to yourself, okay, so now I'm bulletproof. You're not quite bulletproof yet, but I'm going to show you how you can become, this is where you'll become bulletproof, okay? So again, if you've nailed this dupe, then you don't have to care about this. If you've nailed these strategies, you don't need to care. But let's say I lose the call here. So I wait for the mission to pass, I don't hold the phone call correctly, and I get on the bike. So now I've lost my phone call. I've done the Instapass correctly, but I've lost my phone call. I don't have it anymore. Oh no, English Ben, what do I do? I'm helpless, help me. No problem. So go over here to this police cheater. Now this is like fairly complicated compared to the other backups, but this is something that you can do if anything goes wrong and you don't know what has happened and you've lost a phone call, which is worst case scenario, you can still save it if you learn this. So I beg you as a beginner, because things will go wrong. As you can imagine, you're a beginner. That's the whole point. Please learn this. Please, please learn this. Because if you don't and you lose the phone call, you are going to have to load the save and do the entire segment again, which is 5 minutes, if not more. It's very slow. Please learn this. It's 4.5 minutes faster, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to head into the police cheater. We are going to do exactly what we did with the ambulance that you saw right at the start of the game. We are going to hold our middle mouse button, which is for me to activate Vigilante, as you can see, which is the police mission. We are going to hold it, and we are going to teleport with F3 with our save marker replay. As soon as we teleport, let go of middle mouse button. That is going to put us on mission 0 Vigilante. You can tell you're on mission 0 again because of the icons, the mission icons, the A, C, and the skull icon on the bottom left. Now, hold your middle mouse button, get out of the car, and the call is going to come in, let go of middle mouse button, and bam, you have got a on mission 0 call. Again, it's a silent call. You can't hear it, but it's there. And the way that you know it's there, say it with me. That's correct, everyone in the classroom, because I've got the mission icons on the bottom left when I cancel the phone call. And now you can just use the cheater instead in order to do this final setup. So this is Instapass number 5. You can do it with the exactly the same with the cheater. I'll show you the hold call method. Hold the call, get in the cheater, wait for the mission to pass. Get out, answer the phone call. This time we're not going to cancel it though, because we've done all 5 Instapasses. Have we? Wait, let me think about this. Hold on. It's difficult to count. You need to do 5. If you do too little, you can't do the final 2 missions. So let's count what we did, just to be sure. So I showed you, I did the first one with the fast oops. I did the second one, which is to hold a phone call. I did the third one, which was the if you don't get to the van in time. I did the 4th one, which is the cheater. Okay, we need to do 1 more. That's fine. So I'll just show you. No, and then I did 1 correctly with the cheater. Okay, we did do 5. Sorry, I'm stupid. Ignore me. But yeah, it's very important that you count to 5 and do 5 Instapasses, because otherwise, once you've done this mission and you don't have it as an available option anymore, you can't do any more Instapasses. So if you do 1 too little, the fastest asset that you can do is Boatyard, but that costs you like 5 minutes. So I would recommend making sure that you count to make sure you've done as many as possible. And again, to reiterate, in case it wasn't clear, you ideally in a run don't want to do the dupes that I just did. They were all technical showcases for if things go wrong. So ideally, you just do the hold call version, which was the second one that I showed you, for all 5 dupes. And then once you've done that, on the 5th one, you just let the phone call play like I did here. Okay? So whether you have the PCJ or the cheater, it doesn't matter. The strategy here is going to be exactly the same. Make sure that you let the phone call finish. We want to listen to it. It is very important that you don't accidentally enter the vehicle too quick, because you'll cancel the phone call. And if you cancel the phone call, even though you're on the last line of dialogue, you'll have to listen to the whole thing again. And that is obviously very bad. So make sure phone call management is very important as a beginner. Very important that you keep an eye on what phone calls you've got. So here we're going to run up here, and we're basically on a long auto scroller. So I'm just going to drive in here. It's quite risky because of the people shooting you. But you can, if you want to be safe, you can park outside, but I'd recommend just parking inside. I think it's a lot easier. And we're going to listen to this phone call with Lance. This is a long, very, very long phone call. And once you're on the phone call, you are safe. As you can see, nobody can attack you. The reason for that is because enemies are scripted to not attack you when you're on a phone call. So the phone call is going to be your saving grace here.
Don't screw up and we won't have
Make sure you pull out your chainsaw and chainsaw this lady that we're about to kill. And then make sure you answer the phone call at the right time, as I did, because if you answer it too quickly, the phone call will end and you'll get attacked by these ladies, which is really bad. But the reason why you want to chainsaw her is because if you shoot her, there's a chance that the mission will bug out and you'll fail the mission.
Get the plates.
Lance, don't be like this.
As you can see, we killed her with the chainsaw, we got the plates, and now we've just got to wait for the phone call to end.
Take a few days off.
Again, whether you use the PCJ or the cheater here, it doesn't make a difference. And now we just drive out. Again, they're shooting at us now because the phone call has ended. So just be careful. You might take a few shots. If you do take too much damage and you're scared about your vehicle blowing up, like if it's black smoke or anything, or heaven forbid, you get your tires shot out and you don't like driving with pop tires, you can paint spray right here. So this is very chill. You can just grab the paint spray and then come back onto this road and we're going to teleport back. So we're going to play our replay to teleport back. We can't teleport back yet because we're at the docks area, not Little Havana, which is where our save marker is. But as soon as we get past this blue sign here, we will then teleport straight away. We'll get out, we'll answer the phone call, and we're going to time this phone call to jump over the marker. It is very important that you sprint and jump over this marker because we don't want to accidentally restart the mission, which I would do if I were to just walk into this marker. So when Lance says, Tommy, man, look, I'm sorry, this is where you want to sprint jump over the marker, and this will time the phone call so it finishes just before the mission starts. Sorry, just before the mission ends. As you can see, the phone call ends, and then the mission ends, which is brilliant. We want to re-enter our vehicle here. We're waiting 20 seconds for a phone call anyway. We want to re-enter our vehicle to make sure it doesn't despawn, because we used it for the last mission, which means it might despawn. And now we are just waiting for a phone call. There is an advanced strategy you can do here called the CTC snipe, but that will be in the intermediate video. So if you want to give that a go, that'll be in the next video. But I would recommend learning how to do it at a basic level before you do it at an intermediate level. So, Captain Collectors, this is a mission that can instantly fail. If you get traffic in this cutscene, they won't get stuck like they do here. As you can see, they get stuck very easily. They never tax our assets, which means that we can't fail the mission, which is great. But if you don't have glitch traffic, you can get traffic inside of that cutscene and it can cause the mission to fail. If that does happen, don't worry, just restart the mission. It's only a 10-second time loss. It's not a big deal. But we're just going to come over here and kill these guys. And then there are going to be 2 more sets of collectors coming from the north. And we're just going to basically meet them in the middle and kill them. If you have the PCJ here, you'll be in a better position because the PCJ is faster, so you can get into position quicker. But you can still do this with a cheater, no problem. And all that you need to do is once you get to this section where the road kind of like, kind of zigzags a little bit, get out, crouch with your M4, and try and snipe these guys off the bike. These snipes will take practice. And if you miss them, you can just chase them. It's not a big deal. You can just get in the car and chase them. They're only going back towards the ice cream place. But ideally, you snipe them because obviously it wastes time having to chase after them the whole time. But either way, the next guys are going to come from the north again, and you can just snipe them down. If you miss them, as I say, it's not a big deal. A lot of the time, they'll fall off here, as you can see, and you can just snipe them here as well. Either way, it doesn't matter whether you chase them or not. You're driving back this way anyway. So especially on the last guys, if you miss them and you just go here and drive by them instead, kill them here, it doesn't matter. You're driving down regardless. So it's really not a big time loss. But either way, we're going to be finishing on the final section of the mission now, which is very exciting. The final section of the mission, the final mission of the run, I should say. This mission is very chill at a beginner level. It is not chill at a high level, but I'm going to teach you the beginner strats. So it is very chill. So it's a nice ending towards the run. But first we need to get there. If you have any phone calls that you accidentally cancelled or didn't take in the correct position, then you're going to have to answer them now. But ideally, you get out, you glitch the call, and it's just Lance with the final cutscene. Final call, sorry. But yeah, you want to hop over the wall, saves going round. When you start this mission, only skip once for this cutscene and skip once for this. If you mash the sprint key, you'll get stuck in the cutscene. And also, do not move your mouse. If you move your mouse, you will get guys to spawn in. If you don't touch your mouse, they don't spawn, so you can just AFK. You don't have to fight anybody. It's not slower if you do move the mouse, but it just makes this mission annoying. And why make it annoying when it cannot be annoying, you know? So this mission, if you do it correctly, you never lose any time. And the reason for that is because this entire mission is on a timer. It's on a secret timer. So the way it works is you spawn in, like we start the mission, we gain control, and then 60 seconds from then, Lance will spawn in. And then we're going to kill Lance, and then 60 seconds after Lance spawns in, Sonny will spawn in, assuming that we've killed Lance. When you kill Lance, doesn't matter. So you can kill Lance 55 seconds later, Sonny will spawn in 5 seconds later, as long as he's dead and that you're at the top of the stairs. So the important thing is as long as you are there for when Sonny spawns, you don't lose any time. So whether you take 10 seconds to kill Lance or 50 seconds, it doesn't matter. The easiest way to kill Lance as a beginner is to just run past him like this. He will do quite a bit of damage at the start, but as I say, you're on a timer anyway, so you can run downstairs and grab the armor here. Again, this isn't faster, but it isn't slower, and it's way safer. You can heal, and then you can run up. Just run past anybody, you don't have to care about them. And then grab the M60. Shoot Lance dead. There you go, he's nice and dead. And then run back down again. And if you need another set of armor, there is another bit of armor inside this office here. So if you're low on health, there is health and armor here as well. But regardless, make sure that you're at the top of the stairs, bring out the M60 again, and you can just one tap anybody here. So dead, dead, dead. If anybody gets close quarters with you like this, right click and shoot them. Because otherwise you won't be able to kill them in third person. You need to go into first person to shoot them. But as you can see, I was there before Sonny spawned because he didn't spawn immediately the second I walked up the stairs. That's how you know you are on time. And then all you do is kill Sonny with the M60. You spawn in, just shoot him right away. And that is it. That is GTA Vice City speedrun. The time ends when you lose control here. That is GG. Congratulations on your first successful speedrun if you followed this along. Obviously this is a very complicated game, there's lots to talk about, so I hope I did my fair share at talking through things in a fairly coherent manner.
What happened?
If you do have any questions, of course you can, join the GTA Speedrunning Discord. We have a help channel in there. You can leave a YouTube comment. I always do my best to answer them if I can. But yeah, just get in touch, and we're always welcome to help new people. Say the Discord is the best place to be. I will link a bunch of resources down in the description. 1 to download the game, the Japanese version. 2, all the saves that you need and stuff like that. And also 3, the Discord, so that if you have any more questions, you can come and join us. But yeah, hope to see you there. Thank you for joining again. And if you were hoping for more intermediate parts of this, hopefully there will be another intermediate video to follow. If it is there, it should also be in the description, or you can find it on my YouTube channel. If it isn't there, it probably means I haven't recorded it yet. So be sure to tell me to record it in the comments and yell at me for not doing so. Yeah, that's all from me. Take care. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being interested in my favorite hobby.